We start with breaking news in San Diego, California. An active shooter is reported now at an Islamic center in San Diego. A massive police presence, as you can see. Look at all those police cruisers outside of this mosque. One officer is telling the Associated Press that there are gunshot victims inside. There is a school inside the mosque. It's the 1 o'clock hour on the West Coast, so school would still be in session. Police officers have moved inside, we are told, and they are looking for a suspect and victims, and there is some type of evacuation plan in effect for the people inside that mosque. But it appears right now that this is a very fluid situation, to the point where there is no word from police that they have actually caught the suspect. There is a shelter-in-place order in effect for the area around the Islamic Center. As soon as we get any new information, we'll bring it to you live, first at 4 and on 19 News Plus. Shots fired in a very dangerous situation right outside of an apartment complex. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brian Duffy. Nicole is off this afternoon. Cleveland police searching for answers after this shooting on the city's east side. One man is in the hospital, and CPD is still working to find a suspect. Colton Molesky has been working this story for us all day. He's live at the scene of the shooting. Colton, what can you tell us?
I can tell you that a lot of the people living in this apartment complex right here have the same question that we did. Is this a targeted shooting, or was this a random shooting? That's something that police are trying to figure out right now. Here's what the courtyard at Wilson Apartments looked like around noon today. Crime scene markers filling the space as police examined bullet casings. Police tape, the only thing separating the evidence from a shooting and a playground. This complex off East 59th and Chester is filled with families, many too scared to go on camera. Cleveland police say a 20-year-old was shot around 8 this morning, and the investigation is ongoing. I talked with well over a dozen people. They told me 2 people were talking in this walkway when someone opened fire from East 59th. Witnesses heard between 5 and 8 shots, and that it sounded, quote, like a cannon in the confined space. One person says they didn't even hear arguing leading up to the shots, just gunfire in broad daylight when most are going to work or school. Now, I talked with so many people who had the same thing to say, that they were just going through their morning routine when all of a sudden gunshots ripped through that courtyard that you see back there behind that parking lot. Police are continuing to investigate this shooting, and when I get more information from them, I'll get it to you. Right now in Cleveland, Colt Molesky, 19 News.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
Right, we are enjoying certainly some very summer-like conditions across Northeast Ohio, but with that comes an opportunity that we can usually see some showers and storms. Right now, all that activity is just off to our west, but it may enter into some of our western counties through this evening and keep at least a rain and thunderstorm chance alive over the next few hours. Our overall best chance for showers and thunderstorms will be tomorrow. That is why tomorrow is a 19 First Alert weather day. We're really watching the afternoon to evening time frame as that better risk for some of those strong, possibly even severe storms. You can see that it's a pretty widespread risk here as we get through the day tomorrow. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're waiting on a cold front to roll in. During the afternoon, any shower and thunderstorm activity we get will not necessarily be directly associated with that front, as it's going to take a little bit of time. You're really just seeing the heat of the day helping to really generate some of those better shower and thunderstorm risks for us. Gusty winds, some hail being our primary concerns, but I cannot rule out that isolated tornado risk either. I'll continue to walk you through what you can expect coming up here in just a few minutes.
A disturbing story. A man accused of killing his own wife today facing a judge late this afternoon for the very first time. Catherine Huntley is live with the story. Catherine.
Yeah, Brian, just take a look at this absolutely heart-wrenching memorial here for mother Ashley Ross, who was killed here at her home last week. Her husband was arrested and charged with murder by police after he was arrested on a manhunt between here and West Virginia. Today, Ashley Ross's family and friends packed the courtroom. So many people dealing with the devastation of losing Ashley last week. Her husband, 50-year-old Donald Ross, appeared from jail in front of the judge. Police say Donald Ross killed his wife in her bedroom, then took off. He was later captured in West Virginia. Ashley's own children discovered her body. Her friends left in shock and overwhelming grief.
Couldn't have asked for a better friend.
Never turned a person away.
Never.
An amazing mother to all four of her kids.
All four of her
all
kids.
All 4 of them.
And to the kids that aren't even hers, like our kids.
Yes,
she loved our kids.
She treated my kids just like her own.
Now, her friends also had extremely strong words for Donald Ross. Coming up at 6, I'll share with you what they had to say. For now, live in Alliance, Catherine Huntley, 19 News.
Portage County Corrections officer pleaded guilty to passing around some explicit pictures. Austin Wilson entered a guilty plea to a reduced charge of telecommunication harassment, misdemeanor. Police arrested Wilson in February. He was initially facing felony charges. Wilson will be sentenced on June 16th. Fiery crash involving 2 semi-trucks caused major slowdowns on 71 northbound. This is in Ashland County. Look at that fire. This is just north of US 30 this morning. A truck on the side of the road was hit by a semi that burst into flames. The driver of the disabled truck was taken to the hospital and will be okay. The semi driver was treated at the scene. The CDC says it will screen and monitor travelers from areas of Africa where a rare and deadly strain of Ebola is spreading. At least 6 Americans there have been exposed. Tina Kraus with the story.
Medics on the front lines in the Democratic Republic of Congo are racing to stop a fast-moving Ebola outbreak that has now spread to neighboring Uganda. Health teams are scrambling to contain the strain that has no approved treatment or vaccine. The CDC confirms an American missionary working in the Congo has tested positive, and the agency is working with the State Department to move the patient to Germany for care. At least 6 others have been exposed.
The risk to Americans right now is very low. Ebola is not something that spreads through the air. You have to have direct contact with somebody, their bodily fluids. But at the same time, if we allow this to spread uncontained, that does start to pose risk.
The rare form of Ebola is called the Bundibugyo strain, only the 3rd known outbreak with a fatality rate that can reach up to 50%. It has hit one of the world's poorest regions where many don't have access to basic health care.
These are really hard to reach areas, mining towns, on borders, really vulnerable communities.
Since Friday, the number of suspected deaths has more than doubled to over 80, and hundreds more cases are suspected. Global health experts are warning the Trump administration's cuts to USAID and withdrawal from the World Health Organization could make it harder to respond and contain the virus. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
According to the CDC, the U.S. is also ramping up contact tracing, laboratory testing capacity, and hospital readiness nationwide. How concerned should people be? Well, you'll hear from a local expert everywhere at 5. With gas prices still sky high, we're looking for the best prices around with the help of Gas Buddy. Right now, the national average is $4.51. Here in Ohio, a couple cents higher, $4.54. But you'll pay only $4.05 at the Circle K on Vernon Odom Boulevard. That's in Akron. $4.07 at the MAPCO in Avon on Chester. And it's $4.19 at the Gas USA in Cleveland on West 117th. We continue to follow our breaking news in San Diego, California. We've been telling you about an active shooter reported at an Islamic center there. Police are now calling this an active but contained shooting. They say the threat has been neutralized. Officers in San Diego had told the Associated Press earlier that there had been victims. We don't know how many. We do not know their conditions. We also know that there is a school inside of this Islamic center. Right now it's 3 o'clock. Well, what time is it? It's 1:15 there in California, 3 hours behind us. So school day is still in session. As soon as we get any new information, we'll bring it to you live, first at 4 and on 19 News Plus. All right, live look outside. Beautiful day in Oberlin. Beautiful day across Northeast Ohio right now. As we speak, temperatures pushing 90. It is hot and humid. It is summer-like outside right now. Just ahead of National Missing Children's Day, Attorney General Dave Yost has released Ohio's annual report on missing children. 19 Data journalist Dan DeRose is here now with the very latest numbers. Dan.
Whenever we do this and get this kind of information, whether it's on missing children or homicides, this can be a very cold and calculated way to look at the numbers, but it does sort of show trends and patterns, what's working and what isn't. Again, we're talking about missing children. In 2025, this is a big number, and we're going to get into just exactly the breakdown of this. 15,367 reports of missing children in the state of Ohio. That number is actually down about 1,000 from 2024, so that's a positive sign. When we start looking at the good side of things, out of that big number, that 15,000 number, how about 97.8% were recovered safe? That's the positive number. Unfortunately, we have to look at the not so positive. 6 deaths among all those children reported missing. There were 4 Amber Alerts. Also a positive thing. In all 4 Amber Alerts last year, and you're probably thinking, oh, there were probably 100 Amber Alerts last year. That's how many times my phone went off. No, there were just 4 in the state of Ohio in 2025. We can move on and look at some of these. 22 of the children that were reported missing were abducted by non-custodial parents. It's overwhelming, especially when we look at Amber Alerts, that they are taken by a parent who does not have the right to have them, and just 2 stranger abductions in the state of Ohio. Again, that's a number that you probably think is bigger. Oh, kids are getting abducted all the time. No, just 2. Now, 2 is too many, but 2 stranger abductions in the state of Ohio. Again, that report just released today by the Ohio Attorney General. Brian?
Okay, Dan, thank you. Well, the nation's largest commuter railroad system remains shut down, impacting hundreds of thousands of people trying to get in and out of New York City. About 3,500 Long Island Railroad employees walked off the job over the weekend on Saturday. Negotiations with the Metropolitan Transportation Authority failed. 2 sides cannot agree on salaries and health care costs. The railroad normally services New York City and a large stretch of the suburbs, roughly 250,000 riders every weekday.
We're hoping today, with them getting back in there, into the room and talking with the National Mediation Board, trying to facilitate that we can hopefully get a settlement here very soon.
We need the unions to respond to our ideas and to come up with ideas and work with us. That's really important for us to get to the end.
The MTA is providing limited shuttle bus service to help commuters get around. Caught on camera, check this person out. I'm not really sure what they're thinking, but he jumps into an enclosure full of monkeys while wearing some bizarre costume with a big, goofy, smiling head. This is video from a Japanese zoo. Officials say 2 Americans who deny the allegations were arrested following the stunt, which happened to take place in the enclosure housing the internet-famous Punch the monkey.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
Right, it is looking summer-like here across Northeast Ohio. Edgewater Beach starting to fill up. We usually see these signs here as we get closer and closer to the summer season. Some folks even in the water trying to stay a little bit cooler. Keep in mind that water temperature right now for a lot of us is sitting upper 50s to about lower 60s, but that also means we're entering into mid-season. So once that wind turns back out of the north midweek, do not be surprised if you see a few more of those midges around. Temperatures, though, have been really able to warm up very efficiently. Most of us are sitting mid to upper 80s. You look off to the west, you can see some showers and thunderstorms. This is all part of a bigger complex of storms that's been rolling across Indiana over the last few hours, finally entering into northwest Ohio, though weakening as it does so. So we don't necessarily expect a ton in the way of severe weather, especially through the rest of this evening. Could you have some rain, a few rumbles? It is certainly possible. Where the attention will be with any storm storm threat is actually coming together tomorrow, especially as we get into the afternoon and evening time frame. Showers and storms will be quite numerous here across the area, and we do expect that a few could turn strong to severe. Gusty winds being our primary concern, maybe even some hail, heavy rain, things like that. But I cannot rule out either an isolated tornado risk as well. It's low, but it is not zero. Let's walk you through your future view, because tomorrow starts off very quiet. We're going to see a decent bit of sunshine, allowing those temperatures to warm up. But by the afternoon and evening, that's when you have that better storm risk. I'll walk you through the latest data coming up in just a few minutes.
Now your top 4 at 4. Cleveland police are searching for a shooting suspect. This crime happened at the Courtyard at Wilson Apartments. That's in the Huff neighborhood. This complex is off East 59th and Chester. Holds a lot of families, as you can tell. 20-year-old is in the hospital. We have calls out for more information. We have learned the name of the 3-year-old shot and killed in Eastlake over the weekend. He is Paul Bradley III. Police say the toddler was shot in the stomach at the Willowwood Apartments. Eastlake police are interviewing people to try and piece together what led to that shooting. Man accused of killing a Costco employee in Strongsville has pleaded not guilty. The judge kept Christian Bryant's bond at $5 million. Prosecutors say Bryant walked toward the store's entrance with a gun and shot Randolph Corrigan several times when Corrigan tried to stop him from going inside with that gun. The defense released a statement today saying Christian acted to defend himself after Mr. Corrigan approached him with a knife. A 3-vehicle crash on West 37th this morning, and Cleveland police say teens in a suspected stolen car were to blame. The 17-year-old driver, according to police, blew through a stop sign at Denison and crashed into a school transportation vehicle and that dump truck right there. The teen, his 16-year-old passenger, and the driver of the 2 other vehicles were all taken to the hospital. It's unclear at this point how bad they are hurt. Caught on camera, jets collided during an air show near Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho. This is roughly 50 miles southeast of Boise. The mid-air crash happened on the second day of the Gunfighters Skies Air Show. All 4 crew members involved in the crash ejected, were able to parachute to safety.
We, of course, started looking at the road, and that's when we saw that big black plume of smoke behind us.
Base went on lockdown after the incident. The remainder of the air show was canceled. According to a statement, an investigation is underway. More information will be released as that information becomes available. Breaking news in San Diego. We've been telling you about an active shooter reported at the Islamic Center there. Police are now calling this an active but contained shooting. They say the threat has been neutralized. We do understand now the CBS television station in San Diego is reporting that there is 1 fatality, at least 1. Officers in San Diego said earlier that there had been victims. We don't know how many or their conditions, but we do know, according to the San Diego television station, the CBS station, that there is 1 fatality, 1 person killed by gunfire. As soon as we get any new information, we'll bring it to you live, first at 4 and on 19 News Plus. Also breaking at this hour in California, this is Simi Valley. You see the smoke from a brush fire that started this afternoon. Several homes, we're told, have already been destroyed. Hundreds more homes are in the way, in the path of this fire. Evacuation orders are now in effect. Firefighters say it's strong winds right now that are pushing and fueling this fire. It is spreading quickly. Right now, they're battling the fire from the air, dropping water on it from up above. A 16-year-old will spend more than 2 decades behind bars, longer than he's been alive, for a series of dangerous crimes that were caught on camera. 19 News reporter Stephen Hernandez joins us live with the very latest. Stephen.
Well, believe it or not, Jamis Johnson was just 14 years old when he drove a stolen car right into police officers. And that's not the only time he's had run-ins with the law, but it all came to a head today in court.
You've racked up a number of victims here.
After a tense police face-off, 16-year-old Jamis Johnson was sentenced to 23 years behind bars. The teenager had little to say in court.
I want to apologize for all my actions because I know they was not good.
Take a look at this police body cam video from December of 2024. Officers found a stolen Kia Sportage on the 800 block of East 146th Street. Johnson was asleep in the car, but tried to drive away as soon as he woke up, slamming into a cruiser and garage before steering toward officers. Officers opened fire, striking the teen in the shoulder. He was taken to a hospital and then arrested. Johnson pleaded guilty to multiple crimes, including assault. But prosecutors say this isn't Johnson's only run-in with the law. They showed video evidence of another incident just months prior, where Johnson drove a different car onto the sidewalk to steal shoes from another juvenile.
This is a defendant that just repeatedly made choices that put other people's lives at risk.
Johnson's defense argued the teen was the victim of a poor environment.
Both his brother, who he's very close to, and his father were incarcerated.
But Judge Ashley Kilbane thought otherwise.
It's hard to determine if the person in front of me is the wrong crowd and they're the bad influence, or the other, or they're bad influences on each other.
Now, one question is still on the table. Does Johnson go straight to a prison in the county, or does he wait until he's 18 and stay in a juvenile center till then? It's a question that the state's Department of Corrections will have to answer at a later date. In downtown Cleveland, Stephen Hernandez, 19 News.
Conneaut police are investigating a deadly hit and run. The victim is a 50-year-old man from Conneaut. Police say they tracked down the driver responsible and arrested a 42-year-old Twinsburg man. The person faces charges of vehicular homicide, OVI, and more. Investigators have not released any names at this point in this case.